Greetings everyone, I'm Ricky Ricardo Levon, and Prelude to Restoring Part 4 is a slice of a 4-part series as an introduction to the book, Restoring the Fallen. The idea was to build a foundation going to the study on the book of Hosea. God called the prophet to articulate his message for the chosen people to change their ways. Each Prelude lesson has several questions, but we will only cover 3 points in this video. The lesson is available to review and complete on your own or as a group at lavari.com/restoring/prelude to restoring and at the link in the description below. Point number 1 comes from question 1. It says, how does the Bible describe King Ahaz and what were some of his actions? 2 Chronicles chapter 28 verses 1 through 4 and 2 Kings chapter 16 verses 1 through 4. Now King Ahaz was considered evil in God's eyes, which is amazing considering that both of the previous kings, his father and grandfather, were righteous. They may not have been perfect and made a terrible error, Uzziah, but they were righteous. For some reason, Ahaz was going as fast as possible away from the Lord's teaching and direction. He decided to follow Baal and even the gods of nations who were conquering him. Ahaz sacrificed his own children and burned incense to false gods as well. Even when he called for help from the Assyrians who then betrayed him, that did not wake Ahaz to follow the correct path. I would imagine much of Hosea's ministry must have been through Ahaz's leadership, but regardless, it is clear that some people will not choose God. Point number 2 comes from question 7. It says, who was willing to go to war with King Hezekiah and the people of Judah, and what was the outcome of trying to take down God's people? 2 Chronicles chapter 32 verses 1 through 23, 2 Kings chapter 18 through chapter 19. King Sennacherib of Assyria decided to expand his empire by invading Judah. They had already taken much land around them, and Hezekiah was more than willing to give what was needed to stop the invasion. Instead, Sennacherib sent a messenger, Rabshakeh, who is, in so many words, stated that God was not good enough to protect Judah from Assyria. Now Hezekiah, unlike Ahaz, decided to turn to God for help, and the Lord answered through the prophet Isaiah. God would indeed listen to Hezekiah's prayer and sent an angel to destroy the Assyrian army. This led to Sennacherib's ultimate demise and his own family murdering him to take control. Hezekiah was a praying leader who trusted in God for deliverance. He had seen, or at least had heard and known about the northern kingdom being taken by a greater power, Assyria, and now a force was threatening to overwhelm Judah. Hezekiah even did what he thought he should do in providing some money in tribute. Nevertheless, that was not enough. So Hezekiah did what we all should do: pray. And I love in that prayer of Hezekiah, uplifted God and pleaded with the Lord to defend his, talking about the Lord's, own honor. After all, the Assyrians were proclaiming that God could not deliver them, the Israelites, and of course, this ended up being false. There are promises that God has given to every single one of us. Something in our lives that God stated we would accomplish or obtain. Not from our own minds or imaginations, but because God himself stated this was true. When trouble and enemies, like the Assyrians for Hezekiah, come your way to stop this promise, turn to God. Let the Lord know that it was His will and His plans for you to have or succeed at a certain work. Now this problem is halting progress and you need the Lord to fix it. That's right. Make God responsible for your success. But to do this, like Hezekiah, we must be faithful to him. We cannot be like Ahaz, that when problems arise, we turn to false idols, ideals, and sinful behavior. No, we must be like Hezekiah and turn to God and lay the issue at His feet. After all, if the Lord promised it, then it must come to pass. And point number 3 comes from question 8, and it says, there was a personal tragedy that Hezekiah had to overcome. What was it? And describe Hezekiah after God's deliverance. 2 Chronicles chapter 32 verses 24 through 33 and 2 Kings chapter 20. Hezekiah was going to die. The prophet Isaiah delivered a message from God informing Hezekiah to get his affairs in order. And at this time, Hezekiah had done all that the Lord required. The king reestablished a firm religious system in Jehovah, removed the former false idols, tried his best to gather the various people across both kingdoms together, fought in battles against the enemies of the Lord, and raised the wealth of the nation. To be able to live a life where God states, you have done all that I have required and more, you may now rest until you are blessed to live in eternity. What a blessing and joy that would be. However, the fear for us is death. We want eternity, but most do not want to die. Then wait some more. Then wait until Jesus returns and raises the dead to heaven. We are cool with the living for the Lord and the eternal life in heaven, but the death part in between, is an issue. And that's understandable. However, we have to remind ourselves why we are here. What is the ultimate goal? Why did the Lord put me in this place at this time? What if we do fulfill all that the Lord requires and then death? We wait the then eternal life by the hands of Jesus Christ. Even though that sounds pleasing, in reality, we mostly think of the life now and barely consider it in a much better field of existence. Hezekiah prayed, and he prayed hard. He did not want to die, so the Lord answered that prayer as well. He was given a 15-year extension to his life. So how does Hezekiah reward the Lord? By showing all the wealth of Judah to the king of Babylon and his servants. There was nothing that was not revealed or held back to those men. And this was not supposed to happen. The Lord spoke through Isaiah and pronounced that the Lord would not rip the kingdom away from Hezekiah, but it did not mean that terrible things would be held or withheld back from his sons and the nation after he had died. Hezekiah was doing well before the prayer of longer life, but afterwards made a royal mistake, and that undid much of the work he had accomplished. In the film Dark Knight, a character named Harvey Dent said, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." How true this was for Hezekiah and possibly many of us as well. For Hezekiah, God took a chance and blessed him more than he was able to handle. For Hezekiah, that extra 15 years of life was more than Hezekiah needed to accomplish God's will, and that led to a terrible mistake. For some of us, that could be more than we can handle when it comes to money, health, education, power, and so much more. Never ask for more than what God desires for you to have. Of course, we all want to be great, but make sure it's within what Jesus desires and not self. Learn from Hezekiah, and please do not make the same mistake he made. I hope you enjoy, and make sure to pick up a copy of Restoring the Fallen to follow along as we traverse through the book at lavari.com/Men Bible Study. This link is also in the description below, and for more information on Restoring the Fallen, visit its official website at lavari.com/restoring. Thanks for your support.